Have you ever experienced emotional attachment feelings overwhelming you? If you find yourself stuck in a loop that seems unbreakable, you're not the only one. Many others encounter the difficulty of letting go, feeling helpless and trapped in their feelings. Yet there is a bright side. Transformation is not only feasible, but also inspired by the timeless knowledge of ancient Stoics. Within your reach, thinkers such as Marcus Aurelius and Susanna, this film will disclose 10 strong Stoic guidelines to assist you in emotionally separating from someone. Wise as Seneca aptly observed, "He who is brave is free." Detachment doesn't cause fear, imply turning icy or uninterested. Rather, it refers to discovering inner strength and clarity. In this video, we'll examine the profound Stoic principles that will lead you to emotional freedom. As you incorporate these routines into your everyday existence, you'll find methods that are both sensible and effective for releasing the hold of emotional attachment, enabling you to get your peace of mind back and concentrate on what really counts. Imagine embracing a renewed sense of clarity and focus and bidding adieu to the mental chains that bound you. Stoic lessons will enable you to manage your emotions like Marcus Aurelius did, with fortitude and insight. Famously stated, "You have control over your thinking. External circumstances do not recognize this, and you will find strength in putting these lessons into practice. You'll discover how to put your inner tranquility ahead of external." In what situation are you prepared to release yourself from the bonds of sentimental attachment and welcome the power of personal development? Then watch this video where we walk you through 10 difficult behaviors that will change the way you approach emotional detachment. Let's start with considering whether inner serenity is the most important thing in life. Minds with us as we examine these guidelines, paving the path to a freed Stoic mentality. If you liked and found this video useful, please click the subscribe button to become a part of our community and receive more valuable information. Hear your opinions, so if you're unsure of what to say, please comment below. Simply emotional freedom. So, let's get started and start this path of united in our emotional liberation, music. The first rule of music is the power of detachment. Have you ever wondered how someone else controls your emotions as though they were a puppet? Because of your attachments, you've given them a great deal of control, and this is where the power of when detachment is used. It doesn't mean that you cease caring. Rather, it means, why is detachment so important when you begin to live a life where your contentment and serenity aren't determined by outside forces? Consider the insightful statement made by Epicurus that we do not suffer from the happens in our lives. But detachment is about not judging them based on our opinion, regaining control. While realizing that you have no influence over outside forces, you have the power to decide how you react to them. Consider how we react when we cling too much. When they start to exert power over us, it's as though they're giving someone else the remote control of your emotions, enabling them to change the stations whenever they like. Impact can determine your level of happiness or unhappiness, and in severe situations, cause you to make decisions that cannot be undone. Detachment is about taking back. Imagine yourself using that remote and choosing the channels you want to watch on your own. Emotions are like strings on a kite. They dangle from anything or someone. Shows a possible direction in which, should you hold on to it, your emotions may be drawn. You're at the mercy of the wind's stoicism if you play one string too tightly or too many. Encourages us to let go and realize that even though we can't control the wind, we can choose which strings to. Using this strategy helps you stay grounded and not become aloof or uncaring. To begin practicing being resilient, first determine what or who you are. Excessively attached to, ask yourself why you're looking for approval and what you're afraid of. Knowing the source of your attachment, whether it be from loneliness or something else, is the first step in releasing its hold and taking part in things that make you feel good by concentrating on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. You can find fulfillment and purpose. Once you embrace your own strength and ideals, you start to anchor yourself. Detachment. You begin to perceive the world differently and realize that your value is independent on outside factors, conditions, but is fundamental and unwavering. This understanding gives you strength to proceed with confidence and clarity, free from the mental constraints of attachment. Recall that through practice, as Seneca said, he who is brave is free. By being detached, you are truly interacting with life rather than retreating from it. With a calm head and a steady heart, comprehending rule number 2. Have you ever pondered why we cling so strongly to particular people or circumstances? What motivates this impulse to cling on, even when it hurts us, and how can we escape it by realizing that connection is a necessary stage on the path to emotional detachment and personal autonomy? Let's explore this idea in depth and learn from the Stoic thinkers to lead us. Attachment is really based in our Epicus, the Stoic philosopher, famously stated that prosperity does not come from having great possessions, but in having few desires. This knowledge emphasizes the significance of, when we are connected to something, we attach our wants and needs. Or someone, we frequently act out of ego, looking for security or approval, or external sources of sense of identity. Think of a newborn baby who exudes happiness. And unaffected by the intricacies of ego as we mature, our ego starts to assume the driver's seat. Our lives are cluttered with attachments, whether they are to people, things, or ideals, impair our judgment and divert our attention from our have you ever experienced the actual essence, which is love and contentment with yourself. Your enjoyment is dependent on the presence or approval of another person. This is a blatant indication of an attachment motivated by ego. To start separating ourselves from these attachments, we must first acknowledge them as ego-produced constructs. Ask yourself, why am I so attached to this? While you look for validation and stability, person or result, and if this is motivated by fear or want. The first step to releasing your attachment's hold is to recognize its source. Now, picture living if you could approach life with love instead of ego. What if you could have faith in the abundance of the cosmos and having faith that your purpose will be fulfilled? This significant mentality adjustment is about realizing your intrinsic value and capacities that are independent of outside influences. When you start to see using this lens to view your connections and desires, you'll begin to recognize the unnecessary, accepting the idea of abundance and the weight they add to your life is vital, since the universe often rewards you when you let go of your fear of losing something. It doesn't indicate you don't care about detachment if you have more than what you let go of. Signifies you have a deeper understanding of it. It entails remaining loyal to who you are and let love lead you instead of fear as you travel down the path of detachment. Transformative. It involves removing ego layers to reveal the resilient beneath it all lies a love-filled soul that is eager to move forward with ease, free from the weight of attachment, and embrace fresh benefits with wide arms and an unwavering heart. By putting your inner tranquility ahead of outside approval, you open the door to a life of genuine emotional freedom. And rule number 3 on fulfillment, the appearance of control. Have you ever had the impression that do you feel that your pleasure is dependent on the approval or behaviors of others? Feel that you can influence the results of your relationships if you only put in enough effort and emotions? This is a prevalent fallacy that many of us experience. The illusion of control is essential for emotional stability, and comprehending and destroying this illusion, personal independence and detachment, Our ego frequently deceives us into believing that we may influence outside circumstances and other people's responses. This delusion causes us to give too much weight to how other people see us, which can lead to emotional attachment and reliance, as the Stoic philosopher Epicurus well observed. This proverb emphasizes a key Stoic idea. It's not what occurs to you, but how you respond to it that counts. Although we have no influence over outside events, we do have power over how we react to them. We can discover that we are idolizing certain people and putting them on a pedestal when we cling to the idea of control. Pedestals thinking that our value is dependent on their acceptance. This kind of thinking produces a warped reality in which we believe that other people are in possession of something unachievable, but when these illusions are removed, we see that everyone is equally vulnerable and human, and none has a special past that makes their inherent superiority or greater merit. To destroy this delusion, begin by realizing that a large portion of what we think we can manage is actually beyond our acknowledging. Our influence can be both freeing and humbling. Realizing we have no power over the behavior or emotions of others enables us to concentrate on what we may regulate our own ideas, feelings, and personal development. By turning within, we can develop our resilience and self-assurance, for example, rather than receiving encouragement from others. Remember yourself to practice self-affirmation consistently of your special abilities and traits. Recognize your worth does not rely on the opinion of others. This approach is in line with one more Stoic lesson from Marcus Aurelius. You are in control of your thoughts. You will find strength in accepting the fact that external events do not recognize this. Another useful tactic is to adopt an abundant attitude, which acknowledges that the cosmos is vast, and when you stop, there's plenty of love, success, and pleasure to go around. Fearing the loss of a certain person or consequence exposes you to a world of fresh options and possibilities in interpersonal connections. Understanding gives you the freedom to love without feeling frantic. It empowers to value relationships while preserving your sense of value and independence. Keep in mind that maintaining emotional distance is not about being uncaring. Rather, it's about realizing that your presence is not necessary for you to be complete. By internalizing these Stoic ideas, you develop a strong emotional resilience. It gets you ready to deal with life's uncertainty. Shed the illusion of control and accept the freeing realization that real power comes from rule number 4. Detachment in your own thoughts practice. Have you ever been unable to let go of former relationships or experiences and found yourself clinging to them? It's normal to ponder what may occur if you held on to something so firmly that it aches and you're terrified to let go of it. But suppose letting go may result in something much more beneficial. Let's examine how to apply detachment in our drawing practice. On the Stoic philosophy's wisdom, as Epicurus sagely observed, prosperity relies not. This idea is applicable when one has a lot of goods but few desires. Precisely to emotional attachment, are you prepared to let go of the past and create space for the future? Picture yourself gripping a rope so firmly that your hands begin to hurt. You're afraid to let go since you're unsure of what can occur. Nevertheless, letting go doesn't imply you will occasionally stumble. This is your sign that you can now extend your arms and reach out. I had to learn this the hard way when I clutched onto a better thing, cozy connection, as I didn't realize I was closing doors and it seemed safe. How many times have you acted in a similar way, frightened to let go, in response to possible happiness that was knocking on my door? Fear of the unknown. Stick with what you know. Here's another truth. Bomb the FOMO, or the fear of missing out, is a trap. It's like watching other people's. When you feel like you're missing out on life, emphasize the real on social media. But keep in mind that social media is a staged, edited photo that is supposed to highlight the minutes after I stopped perusing the stories of other people and began living my own fog, lost its hold on me. Do you find yourself in this situation all the time? It's time to stop comparing your life to other people's. Stop doing that. Understanding every aspect of another person's life does not imply that you are missing something. Indicates that you're living fully in the now and creating experiences that are unique to you. Embracing a phony kind of happiness on its own might make letting go appear impossible. You worry that you're lagging behind when you see others enjoying their finest lives. But keep in mind that the grass is only as green as it seems. Though it appears greener from a distance, up close you can notice that it has some brown areas. Additionally, fostering an appearance of perfection in the lives of others robs them of joy. No matter how fast you go, it's like trying to catch up to a hologram while running on a treadmill. It's not real, so you'll never get there. Detachment isn't about giving up. To define happiness on your own terms and to emotionally distance yourself from others, read on. The Stoic idea of concentrating on your thoughts and what you can control. It is liberating to understand that no one's opinion or history matters. Your actions and growth relationship has the capacity to transcend even a flawlessly manicured life on social media. Determine your value or level of satisfaction. This insight is your shield, enabling you to proceed free from needless attachments and able to take in life in all of its erratic splendor and remain receptive to the truly satisfying relationships that are just around the corner. Keep in mind that letting go isn't rule number 5. The route is a brave step toward the life you genuinely deserve. Have you ever wondered why genuine happiness frequently appears to be just out of reach? Reach. Dependent on the whims of others or outside factors. What if the secret to lasting? In this section, you are the source of happiness, regardless of the impact of others. We will discuss the Stoic route to happiness and the ways in which emotional detachment can result in a more robust and profound joy. Where does true value originate? Is a question whose answer has the power to change our course. Moving away from pointless ties and in the direction of emotional freedom, as Epictetus observed sagely, that prosperity does not lie in large possessions, but rather in having minimal desires. This profound insight encourages us to focus within instead of than external factors for our sense of value and contentment, thus comprehending this idea crucial, especially important, when the challenge is letting go of someone you don't care about, cutting relationships not out of hatred or apathy, but rather realizing that the deepest kind of friendship, as it turns out, the one you have with yourself, is the true value you'll ever possess. Originates from your inner self, your discernment, and how frequently you treat other people. We make the error of thinking that being with someone else is necessary for us to be happy. Our existence, that our value increases or decreases based on their ignore this mentality, and we become enslaved to the caprices of, consider a bird that feels it needs permission to fly. We restrict our rather than feeling sad. Consider instead that the sky has always been available, ready for you to take off on your own terms. This being independent frees us by showing us that our worth is constant. Detachment from other people's ideas or presence isn't an act of pushing. Putting someone else out of our reach while concentrating on personal development and become the greatest selves we can be freed from. The burdensome weight of neediness is similar to taking care of a garden. You wouldn't beg. You must tend to the soil, water the plants, and have faith in order for a single blossom to grow. The organic process by which we tend a garden while concentrating on self-improvement that flourishes irrespective of anybody choose to stroll through it or appreciate its splendor. This upbringing develops into an autonomous, resilient source of happiness and incredibly fulfilling. How do we follow this route of emotional detachment begins with realizing that you are enough, praise or criticism from others included. Traveling is about exploring the vastness of your own sky and coming to appreciate the freedom that comes with flying. When needed, go it alone. Accept the wisdom of Stoicism. Concentrate on your inner, manage your ideas, your behavior, and your personal development. This does not include giving up. It entails protecting your heart or ignoring love and connection. Emotional anchor in the solid foundation of your existence. Keep in mind that your value isn't a puzzle with a missing component, that is a work of art in progress, that is finished as is still willing to incorporate additional beauty from the surroundings. Rule number 6. Accept the situation as it is and avoid getting hung up on the past. Embracing the current moment while letting go of fears about the past or the future. This exercise is a wonderful approach to emotionally disengage and gain inner calm, strongly based in Stoic philosophy, which invites us to completely inhabit the present moment, valuing the here and now instead than being engrossed in the past, or, as the famous Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius sagely observed, limit. This phrase encapsulates the fundamental principles of Stoic wisdom, the value of living in the present, because if you think about the past too much, you risk repeating it, unpleasant encounters, or holding on to things that are no longer there. When you worry about the future, you frequently cause unneeded stress over things that have not yet occurred and might never do so. Both of these behaviors can stop. By practicing mindfulness, you can prevent yourself from feeling the fullness of the moment. A good method to practice mindfulness in the present moment is to pay attention to paying judgment-free attention to your present situation entails actively participating in anything you're doing, be it eating, strolling, or having a talk. Take note of the specifics, the food's flavor, and the texture of the sound of the other person's voice. By fully submerging yourself in embracing these encounters helps you stay rooted in the here and now, which can reduce attachment to the past or the future. By practicing mindful activities can greatly improve your capacity to remain in the now while meditation educates your mind to concentrate on the present moment. For instance, even simple breathing activities can help you focus again on the here and now. Try to set aside dedicating a short period of time each day to these exercises. You'll discover that you're less preoccupied with regrets from the past or worries about the future while living in the now. Entails cultivating thankfulness for the little things and valuing what you have right now. Moments and small joys in your life. This change in perspective from what is shifting your viewpoint from what is missing to what is abundant might help you release attachments that burden you. Instead, by living in the now, you establish a foundation of emotional stability and clarity. By doing this, you can approach life's obstacles with composure and clarity, enabling you to enjoy and completely experience life as outlined in rule number 7. Reframe your ideas. Reframing your ideas is an effective technique for emotional detachment, entails altering your perspective and interpretation of circumstances, assisting you in escaping destructive mental habits and emotional reliance. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reportedly said, that the soul takes on the hue of its ideas by altering your ideas. You can alter your emotional state and general viewpoint on life. Begin by recognizing the unfavorable ideas that hold you at. They may contain convictions such as, I can't live without this person, I'll never find another one, and thinking about them makes me happy. Make you feel dependent and powerless. When you see these tendencies is the first step in altering them. After that, confront these ideas by, when you doubt their veracity, consider if the following is indeed true. How much proof do I have for this belief? Frequently, you'll discover that when ideas are inflated or unjustified, this awareness may lessen their hold. After you've recognized and confronted your negative thoughts, focus on your feelings. Swap them out for neutral or positive ones rather than "I can't live without." This person should know that I'm capable of achieving contentment and pleasure on my own. Replace me, I'll never find another person with so many opportunities. Love and connection are what these new ideas should represent in my future. A more impartial and empowering viewpoint to support these new mental practices on a regular basis. Make a list of positive remarks about yourself and your potential for success. If you independently read these affirmations aloud every day and over time, they can assist in rewiring your brain to have a more optimistic perspective. In addition, you can support your efforts to reframe your thinking with mindfulness practices like meditation. Without passing judgment, you become conscious of your thought patterns, enabling you to more closely examine and modify them. Reframing your ideas properly requires constant work rather than a one-time effort. Practice by persistently confronting and altering the unfavorable thoughts you develop stronger emotional fortitude, and more mastery over your responses to this change in perspective gives you a feeling of inner power and detachment, empowering you to proceed with assurance and clarity. Adhere to rule number 8, which sets a healthy. Do you find it difficult to establish limits or say no to people when they're setting healthy? Setting limits is essential for emotional detachment, since they safeguard your well-being and provide you authority over. Determine in your emotional space what actions are appropriate and inappropriate, and respectfully convey these to others while acknowledging your own boundaries. Affirm your value and lessen your reliance on other people for approval. Or, setting limits helps you establish your happy place and where you stop. And someone else starts this habit aids in avoiding emotional entanglement and encourages a feeling of independence. For example, if a person's actions are making you anxious, gently but firmly state that you need space or a change. This is about defending your space in interactions, not about shoving people away. Mental and emotional well-being. While you set these boundaries, keep in mind that setting limits teaches others to respect you and your demands over time. It's a sign of self-respect. Establishing boundaries consistently promotes the development of more positive relationships. Respecting and comprehending one another is a proactive step toward emotional independence. Guarantees that your mental well-being is not reliant on the deeds, or by establishing and upholding sound boundaries. You establish a secure emotional space where others feel accepted. Where you can thrive allows you to concentrate on your personal development and well-being, strengthening your sense of investing in oneself and improving your general quality of life is rule number 9. Self-care. When was the last time you indulged in something that was exclusively for you? Self-care is necessary for developing resilience and emotional detachment. Independent Life Serbia was a firm believer in the value of individual well-being, emphasizing that a sound body with a sound mind is a brief yet full defining a pleasant state in our world. Self-care entails setting priorities, physical activity for mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Meditation and mindfulness, for example, not only enhances your health, but also generates endorphins that improve your mood. Techniques support mental clarity by reducing stress and helping you focus your thoughts, and mental stability, as well as the importance of interests and passions. Self-care activities include reading, painting, gardening, and playing an instrument. Engaging in hobbies brings happiness and contentment, reducing your need on others for pleasure, in addition to spending quality time with those you love and who encourage you, uplift you, strengthens your feeling of belonging and community. Self-care is about establishing a healthy, balanced lifestyle that prioritizes self-care for your well-being. You establish a solid foundation that gives you the self-assurance to meet life's obstacles and the ability to step back from emotionally, not from a point of aloofness, but rather from a place of inner power and self-awareness, self-assurance. Making self-care a priority is essential to building a happy, independent life. Rule number 10. Put it into practice. Gratitude. Have you ever observed that dwelling on your shortcomings might increase your sense of attachment to what you don't have? Gratitude practice can dramatically alter your viewpoint, assisting you in separating emotionally from someone. By recognizing and by valuing the good things in your life. You cultivate an attitude of plenty, as opposed to being grateful for scarcity, enables you to see the worth in what you currently have, which lessens the need for what you believe you're lacking. For instance, make a list of 3 things every day. You are appreciative of things, which might be as basic as a bright day or encouraging. This exercise refocuses your attention from what's missing, like a wonderful dinner or a companion. The philosopher Epicurus advised living in the moment and finding fulfillment in what you do. Remember that what you have today was once among the few things you only had, so try not to ruin what you have by wishing for what you do not have. Longed for enlightenment serves as a reminder to treasure the blessings we currently have, rather than focusing on our shortcomings. Instead of being grateful, improves our emotional health and creates a defense against the anguish of detachment. As you develop the habit of with thankfulness, it will be simpler for you to let go of things that don't serve you anymore, making room for a more tranquil and a happy existence.